opportunity to tell us what the f you were thinking?
We've been waiting for you.
Don't worry, Jak! I'll save you before you know it!
Something's very odd about it. At this rate, history. No. Everything will collapse.
Hello and welcome to Worldwide Gaming. I'm your host Ryan, and today we have two reviews of fighting games, although very different types. Callum also takes a look back at the Jak and Daxter games to see what made them so special. But first, as always, we have the forecast.
Weapons don't have instincts.
The annual release of Call of Duty is here, in the form of Black Ops 3. Overhauling the campaign, multiplayer, and zombie modes, the story centers around the violent protest of super soldiers, enhanced by robotics. The campaign will also be fully playable with 4 players in co-op, a first for the series. The game is coming this November for current-gen consoles and PC.
Becomes the weapon.
My Death Robots is a competitive turn-based 2D brawler that has players fighting each other using several different gods, each with their own abilities and special traits. The game features a unique mechanic that allows players to sculpt the battlefield as they play. The game is releasing soon for PC. This beautiful looking action-adventure game tasks players with investigating paranormal activities. Inspired by games like Wind Waker and Dark Souls, Little Devil Inside comes with co-op, a non-linear story mode, and a dynamic open world. The game is releasing 2016 for PC.
Round 1. Fight!
In 2011, the Mortal Kombat franchise was rebooted with the aptly named Mortal Kombat, bringing with it brutal new X-ray special moves and, to everyone's surprise, a decent plotline. With the recent release of Mortal Kombat X, I was curious to see if it could keep up the momentum of the previous title's success. Although the mechanics are as tight and enjoyable as ever, it's the little things that keep the game down. Mortal Kombat X's story starts not long after the previous game, and quickly introduces reoccurring antagonist Quan Chi. As you try to stop Quan Chi from releasing the immortal Elder God Shinnok, the game will flash back and forward 20 years at almost a dizzying pace, while simultaneously travelling to multiple realms where the characters reside. The constant back and forth means you'll need a few moments to readjust for each time period and location, though it wasn't enough for me to completely lose track of the plot. Luckily, the game allows you room to breathe with lengthy cutscenes, which dominate the main story mode. Breaking these up are quick time events which appear every now and again, just to make sure that you're paying attention. They're pretty easy to handle, as they're clear on the screen and give you plenty of time to react.
Damn, I'm good.
But even if you do miss one, there aren't any negative consequences. You can go through whole cutscenes without hitting a single button, be stabbed, burnt and bruised, only to progress to the next fight as if nothing ever happened. The lack of weight to these sections make them feel completely unnecessary, especially when just a little bit of missing health is all it would take to make these events meaningful. The game also relies heavily on near-miss moments for cheap drama, where characters are saved just before certain death. These moments occur far too often in the story and only add to its sloppiness. The only reason you should play the main story is to familiarize yourself with the new characters and their movesets.
You've earned great trust for the Shirai Ryu. Do not squander it murdering a withered sorcerer.
That withered sorcerer is the architect of my suffering.
Set 20 years after the previous game, Mortal Kombat X features a decidedly mature fighting roster. Although they might have a few more grey hairs, everyone is as nimble and strong as they ever were. In the time between games, a few of the fighters have had children, which round out the playable cast as fully fledged fighters themselves. These new characters are masterfully designed, visually referencing their parents while still managing to feel like brand new combatants, and they really add to the already impressive roster of playable fighters. The core of the fighting system hasn't changed much over the years, but perhaps the biggest and most interesting change Mortal Kombat X introduces is the different character variations. After picking a character, you are presented with 3 distinct fighting styles. Some might give your character new weapons, extending their reach, while others will increase the power of certain attacks, or extending the character's moveset. Each of these variations add an impressively deep layer to mastering each character, and can be employed in different fighting situations for different dynamics. The infamous X-Ray special moves are back in all their gory, horrific, and wince-inducing glory. Characters will crack skulls, shoot arrows through eye sockets, and throw opponents hundreds of meters in the air for devastating damage. Given Mortal Kombat's love affair for violence, it's easy to suspend your disbelief when your opponent takes hit after hit and yet continues fighting.
You should be embarrassed.
Couple these brutal attacks with the trademark fatalities and brutalities, and Mortal Kombat is definitely a game that has earned its adults-only rating. In what I can only assume is an effort to appeal to the more casual players, this iteration of Mortal Kombat introduces the concept of easy fatalities. These are an expendable currency which can be used to perform fatalities with the press of only 2 buttons, rather than the usual string of context-sensitive inputs. The fact that these are gained through microtransactions aside, admittedly a finite number can be acquired without paying, the whole concept seems to go against what fatalities mean to me. Fatalities, and brutalities to a greater extent, are a way to humiliate your opponent after a match. They take time to memorize, making pulling them off after a hard-fought battle that much more satisfying. Reducing them to such a simple command strips them of all meaning and is a feature I hope is not seen in any other sequels. The persistent online feature Faction War unfortunately does little to hold your attention. When first booting up the game, you choose from one of the factions to be associated with, and any fight in online, story mode, or the challenge towers will contribute to your online faction. At the end of the week, the faction with the most points wins, gaining coins used to unlock art and hidden fatalities. Apart from the rewards, being in a faction allows you to play a couple of different modes, but still isn't that much of a draw to check on your faction's progress regularly. If you're like me, you'll probably select a faction and forget about it altogether. Mortal Kombat X is still an extremely solid fighting game, as it has been many times before, but the additions around the core fighting can sometimes feel incomplete or unnecessary. Mortal Kombat X's main problem is that they seem to have spent more time making systems that keep you in the game, instead of making the game good enough to keep coming back.
The charges against you are void. I say to all, that Earthrealm means Outworld no harm. Now kill me. Be done with it.